anyone notice that the days of contouring and sculpting the face have kind of gone to the past, and now it's all about bronze, especially in the summertime, but also as we carry a more current look into fall, winter, all the things. Right now it's all about soft contours, a more natural look to the skin, and in order to achieve that look, you need to have some sort of a bronzer. And for more mature skin, bronzers usually are best applied when they are in cream formula. But with so many on the market, which one do you choose? Well, you are in luck because today's Friday Face Off is all about cream bronzer. And we're going to not only apply both of these bronzers, you know we're going to do an 8-hour wear test because we need to know how they wear. Now, as with any cream product, they always will work better if you set them with a powder on top. But we're not going to do that because not everybody likes to have to add that second step. So we want to see how these two cream bronzers last on their own at the 8-hour mark. I'm also going to share with you some easy techniques if you are a little bit hesitant to use a bronzer, maybe you're new to bronzers and not quite sure what they're supposed to do. We're going to get into all of that. If we haven't met before, hi, I'm Jody. I'm 56, and this channel is all about sharing with you not only beauty tips in terms of hair, skincare, makeup, but we talk a lot about just being accepted and moving forward in the stage of life that we are right now and doing it gracefully. The aging process is a blessing, but there's a lot to it, right? We need a manual. It's an ever-evolving manual. It's always changing because let me not fib here, probably every 2 weeks or so, I discover something else about the aging process. We can call it pro-aging, call it anti-aging, call it whatever you want, but moving forward in life, in this space of midlife, there's always new surprises. Sometimes they're welcomed and like not having a filter and saying whatever the heck you want. And sometimes they're less welcomed, like the lack of desire to cook dinner anymore or the jowls that just seem to show up overnight. But we're gonna do it together. You are in good company because this community it's awesome. You guys are the best because we're real life. We're talking about real life here. All right, you guys, lip combo first before I move into bronzers. All right, Strip Down by MAC is the liner, and the lip gloss over the liner is this shade Haze by Anastasia of Beverly Hills. So that is the lip combo today. All right, look at me doing lip combos on top like I said I'm gonna start doing, and I typically don't do it because I forget. All right, let's talk about these two cream bronzers. First up, Merit's new cream bronzer. This is called Bronze Balm. It sells for $32, comes in 5 shades, and I have it in shade Clay. And we are doing a side-by-side comparison against the $52 Dior bronzer. This comes in 6 shades, and I have it in shade Soft Fair. One big difference between these two brands is Merit is cruelty-free. Now, the Merit bronzer says it is a sheer satin finish, and it definitely tends to go on very sheer, which would mean it's probably more forgiving if you are new to bronzers. The Dior bronzer right away, it says it is lightweight, but it definitely is a little thicker formula. All right, we are going to go in on this side with the Merit. When it comes to bronzing, the whole point is just to warm up the face a little bit so that it looks like you've got different dimensions to your face and that it's not a mask of a foundation color. I did a review recently of a new foundation, and it was so full coverage that I felt like a mortician had done my makeup. It was just solid color, no shadows, no nothing. So you do want to build some of that back in so that it just looks a little natural. Plus you get the warmth of a bronzer to really warm up the face. Now when it comes to bronzers, you want to select a shade that is more warm because bronzers are meant to add some warmth to the face. A few ways to apply bronzer. You can apply it directly to your brush and then blend it in. That is an easy way to do it. I typically like that method, but I think in terms of demonstration and how I would do it quickly, I'm gonna do it how I would normally. I like to add bronzer in a figure 8. So I'm just gonna do that and then we'll go in and blend it. And here's what I mean by that. Just starting at the hairline on the forehead, bring it right at the hairline, through the temples, not too far forward on the temples because temples tend to lose collagen, so they do get a little indented, so we don't want to highlight that or make that look more indented by adding a dark shadow there. Then we're going to come right underneath our blush and then across the bottom. We'll do the other side, then we'll go in and blend them out. So same thing. Just think figure 8. Something like that. You can definitely see the difference in the pigment of these formulas. You can see how that just goes on a lot darker, where the Merit is more sheer. And for a bronzer, I like to use a fan brush. This is the BK Beauty Nikki LaRose N18. Now this is a dense brush. You can use a smaller dense brush. You can use a fluffy brush. I just find that those take a little bit more work. So I'm gonna go in with this brush because this is what this brush was designed to do. Softly blend it up towards the hairline. And when it comes to your blush, just add it just underneath your blush and then across the jawline. I will say that this Merit blends out very nicely. You saw how easy that was, and you can't tell that I have it on. You can just tell that my face looks a little warmer. I really like this formula so far, you guys. It's very easy to blend, it's smooth, it's lightweight, it adds just a hint of warmth without looking like I've blended too much bronzer and or contour. So really impressed with how easy that went on. All right, on the Dior side, same thing. Now what's impressive with both of these formulas is I am in the studio, so I have a pretty big light right off to the side, and typically a product under a light like that is more warm will dry down pretty quick and make it difficult to blend. That is not the case with these. They're both blending out really nicely. The Dior is definitely more pigmented. It's a thicker formula. You do have to work in, I think, smaller sections and with less product than you would need to with the Merit. The Merit feels more forgiving. So if you're somebody new to bronzer, for example, I think right away the Merit would be easier to work with. You'd have better makeup days and less frustration because of how that formula blends out. I also think if you are a minimal makeup person, but you do want to add bronzer, I think the Merit formula would lend itself more to blending into a no makeup or an everyday natural makeup look, where the Dior, again, is a little thicker formula. It's more pigmented, so it would work better on a more soft glam day because of how pigmented it is. It is nice. I just feel like the Merit blended out probably more smoothly. So you can see they both leave just a nice warm glow to the skin. It adds a little bit of contour or shape to your face. You know, your face does go around, so it gets a little bit darker as it goes on the curve, which a bronzer slash contour can do for you. Now, when you're thinking about contours, and that's a whole nother thing, if you want to know more about contouring, how to contour, then just search my channel for contour. I've done several videos on the types of shades that you want to look for. Contour is more brownish gray because it is truly creating shadow to the face. Bronzers are adding warmth to the face. Perfect time for summer, especially if you are like me and you stay out of the sun and add a lot of sunscreen and a big, super big hat if you're gonna be out in the sun, but you wanna look like you've got some warmth to the face because this time of year that just looks natural, then a bronzer is a really nice option. All right, so that's what they look like upon application. And as always in a Friday face-off, we're gonna go about my day and I will check in at the 8-hour mark. It'll be a little hard, I think, to see how these are wearing because they're just such a nice natural blend to the face. I do feel like this one feels a little bit more made up. I feel like this is a little bit more of a thicker makeup look. So it'll be easier to see if it's still there or not. Where the Merit is just, it's just a soft, natural look. So right out of the gate, I think they both apply nice. I find that the Merit is easier to work with. All right, so let's see what we've got in 8 hours. All right, you guys, it has been 8 hours and I just added a little bit of lip gloss because I just didn't want to put on a whole lip routine liner and all that. But what is it about adding a little bit of lip gloss or a little bit of highlighter or glitter and we feel like we are refreshed and have come back from the dead? All right, in terms of these two bronzers, I have some strong thoughts about this. I feel like the Dior is probably better for professional makeup artists or those of you that are really experienced with makeup. The formula is just a little bit thicker. The pigment of the color is stronger, so you do need to work it in and blend it. Once you do, it's pretty and it lasts all day. I do feel like it grabs some patches of drier skin, so you definitely want to exfoliate. It's just a trickier product to work with, but the payoff is probably there. Again, if you're a professional makeup artist. Nikki LaRose, who I have a lot of respect for, she's a phenomenal makeup artist. She loves the Dior. And that's why I got it, and I can see why she likes it. And she says she uses it on her clients, and I've seen her use this on herself. For me, in a more everyday average makeup skill level, I find the Merit to be much more forgiving, easier to apply, a sheer formula that you can build up to get a more, think of it this way. Think of this one as a medium coverage foundation, and think of this one as a sheer to light but buildable foundation. That's really the best way to explain how these apply and how they wear. This one, you just need a little bit, more experience, more skill level, and you can get it to the look that you want. For those of us with more mature skin, where we want to look as though we've got some bronzer, we want to add some warmth to our face, but we're not looking for an overall bronzed contour goddess golden look, then I think hands down this is a much better, more comfortable, easier learning curve product to use because it's a little more forgiving, but it does give you the payout. You do get that warm bronzy look from it. And again, I have it in shade Clay if that helps you with your matching of bronzers. So that's where the results lie for me on this Friday Face Off. Both are good products. I just think for the average everyday makeup wearer, this one is easier to work with, more forgiving, and still gives you a really nice golden glow. So, and it works good over foundation, and this would work really well if you are a no makeup person, or if you just like adding some sunscreen and still want a little glow. I think this is a very usable product. You could also use this on your eyes if you wanted a little bit of a bronzer. A lot of different ways to use this. So for the way I use makeup, this would be my hands down go-to for me, and for many of you, that would be my recommendation. But again, if you like a more soft glam, full glam makeup look, and you're more experienced with makeup and you're comfortable with the blending without looking muddy, then this is a good product. I hope that gives you some additional information on how to use a bronzer, what you want out of your bronzer, and which formulas might work best for you and your skin type. All right, you guys, that does it for me. If you love Friday Face Off and you want a foundation, check out this one that I recently did. It is a new foundation on the market that I was pretty impressed with. That does it for me today, you guys. I will see you in an upcoming video because we're going to talk about Christmas in July. That's right. I have been saving my favorite products through the first half of this year, and my next video, we're going to explore what those are so that we don't forget the really good ones that came out in the beginning of the year, because we know as we get towards the holidays, we're going to be bombarded with holiday launches, and some might be good, but let's not forget the really good ones that already came out this year and get some early shopping done while many of these products are on sale. All right, you guys, that does it for me. Be sure to check out that video, and I'll see you over there in just a couple days. Bye-bye.